What's going on, people? CP3 live from the lab. Victory Monday. Redskins Lions. Redskins improved to 2-9 within. I haven't even figured out a word to describe this game yet, but with a 19-16 victory, excuse me, over Detroit. We talked about in the pregame. Everybody took Detroit. Nobody gave the Redskins hope. I predicted correctly in the first pregame of this Week 12 NFL game day. A Redskins victory. I said they would score 20 points. They scored 19. I take that. I can't be mad. You see some of the stats scrolling on your screen right now from the game. I'm definitely going to talk about Haskins, and his third start, first career victory. Talk about the defense that had a little lull in the third quarter coming out of halftime, but stepped up big time in crunch time, made some plays, and helped put this team in a position to get the go-ahead score and got the turnover to secure the victory. So it's a lot of good things to talk about. I mentioned that in the first and the pregame keys to victory. The defense would have to definitely improve from what they looked like last week with all the blown coverages, miscommunications, and everything that was just looking very, very ugly last week. But before I go any further, this is sponsored by Martini's Restaurant and Lounge down in Fort Washington, Maryland, 725 Katy Drive. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it down this week, but I'm sure they're down there having a good time celebrating the Redskins' victory. So I know you should go down there and check it out. They got the second games on now. I got the Patriots and what's that? Patriots and Cowboys coming on soon. You got it's only two games this afternoon, and you got one game at 8 o'clock. But they're quality games, so you really can't be too mad. But as always, you can follow us. Check out the feed on the Sports OTH page on Facebook, sportsothp.com, or my YouTube channel, Carol Porter III. That's with three eyes. Comment, questions, concerns, anything you want to get off of your chest about this victory that improved the Redskins to 2-9. So I already mentioned earlier in the pregame, the Wizards will be tipping off around 6 o'clock versus Sacramento. So for all the football fans that's, going to go celebrate and want to check out something else and not kill the high of the Redskins victory, go check out some Wizards basketball, see if they can win 3 in a row and get closer to 500. But we're not going to talk too much basketball because we'll cover that tomorrow night on Sports OTHP on True Radio Network starting at 7 o'clock. We'll talk Capitals first, Wizards at 7:30, and then we'll talk Redskins and boxing in the second hour in this Victory Monday. But let's go ahead and break down this game. I got the Facebook live feed going. I see Robbie and started sharing it. Appreciate that. Any comments or questions, feel free to chime in. I get to them. Any concerns, anything you got to say about this game? I'll start out by saying this game started out a little, had me a little worried. I don't like when the Redskins get the ball first because we know how the offense, sometimes is inconsistent, which we saw in this game. They put up 19 points. They only averaged around 13, 14, but they did some things at the right time. It took them a while to get going. Haskins looked uncomfortable throughout the first half of the game. I was tweeting out throughout the game. I see his issues is mostly with mechanics. That's why I feel the ball sails the way it does because he's not setting his feet properly. He's rushing his throws because I think it's taking him a little bit too long to read the defenses to see what's going on. And then when he realizes it, he rushes and, he wants to get the ball out because if you throw the ball late in the NFL, it's not going to turn out well. So he has potential and room to grow. It trips me out how people are calling him a bust after 3 starts in the NFL after only 14 starts in college. I'm like, I don't get it. You don't just plug in a dude against the best athletes in the world, against the best teams, in the world, against the best coordinators in the world, and think he's just going to, slide right into it like nothing wrong. It just isn't going to happen. AP, he got the thing going a little bit, tried to get the running game going. I was a little disappointed that they didn't get more rushing yards because the Lions give up over 120 yards a game, which we spoke about in the pregame. But this was a funny feeling game in the first half. It's like nobody wanted to take control of the game. And then when the Redskins got the kickoff return by Sims, that gave them some momentum. And they were keeping things, pretty much locked down up until halftime. Then they come out of halftime. Every team make adjustments. Detroit made adjustments. Went down the field pretty easily in the third quarter to, get a score to make it 13-10. Then Redskins went 3-and-out, get the ball back, get a field goal, tie the game up. Then they take the lead in the fourth quarter, which normally isn't a good thing for the Redskins, but we've seen in the last 2 weeks with Haskins, for some reason, the light comes on in the fourth quarter where he plays better, and you saw him making adjustments. You saw him, changing plays, moving personnel around. He was still throwing a little high. The wide receivers bailed him out on a couple of plays that played to McLaurin, that put him in field goal range. Definitely, he went up and got that. That play that Hardman almost made. Oh, he had a couple of almost catches in this game that, you see his athletic ability and you see the potential there. Just that these guys need to work together more and, get that chemistry. And then you do see a nice core of talent at the wide receiver quarterback position. So that's always something to build off of. And we spoke about AP, Darius Geis. They look like they're using him more in the second half, letting AP set the tone in the first half, sprinkle him in every now and again, and then bringing Geis more in the second half is kind of a change of pace. He's a little bit faster, a runner as hard as AP, and he's looking to make things happen. So he runs angry, just basically what you can say. Somebody I was talking to gave a good analogy that he's like a smaller Marshawn Lynch, and I feel like that's an accurate assessment as of right now. But the question is, can he stay healthy? Marshawn Lynch had a nice career, but toward the end of it, he did start having more and more nagging injuries due to his tough running style. So we've seen guys have a couple of injuries at the beginning of his career, so we're going to see if that's going to change his running style. Is that going to, that's just something that fluke that happened. But we can only wait and see. He's played 2 games since coming off the IR with the meniscus tear, and he's looked, pretty good so far. Hasn't put out breakout numbers, but he's contributing and helping his team, improve and get better, which is all you can ask of a player that's, coming into it. But one thing I did in the first half is I checked the stats because I always do the stats for the end of the game, but I tried to do the stats at the halftime to see, how things were going in the beginning and how things went in the end. If the adjustments worked, if the defense for the opposing team shut the Redskins down, or if the Redskins were able to open it up and make adjustments and build off of what they started in the first half, which we saw they put up 13 points in the first half. Unfortunately, only put up 6 points in the second half, but it was a victory, so that's all that matters. First half, they had 6 first downs, were 2 for 7 on third down, had 55 rushing yards, 59 passing yards, with a total of 114 yards. They gave up 2 sacks, had 1 turnover. It had 16 minutes of time of possession. Now, going back to the stats for the final game, final stats that is, they had 13 first downs, so they got 7 more in the second half. They were 4 for 14 total, so they were 2 for 7 in the second half, which they were 2 for 7 in the first half. So at least they're consistent in that aspect. Rushing yards, they had 55 in the first half. They had additional 31 in the second half. You didn't see as much emphasis on the run. You saw them still trying to run the ball, but I didn't like in the first half with all the motion and trying to outthink the opponent instead of just running the ball straight forward. I understand what they're trying to do, but sometimes you just got to hand the ball off, just let Adrian Peterson get going. I feel like that's one of the things that slowed him down with all the pistol read formations and, motion with the wide receiver. I mean, it's a good idea, but if you're not going to get a ball to the wide receiver on the end around, they still know it's going to be a run. So you're just bringing another defender into the box to stop the run when you're running the man in motion. That's just my philosophy. Sometimes you got to hand the ball off. But they got an additional 31 yards in the second half. Passing yards, they had 144 at half. They ended up with 144 total. They only had 59 at half. So he got another almost 100 yards, close to 80 yards passing in the second half. Total was 230 for the game. They had 114. So 100, yeah, that was about balance. 116 in the second half, 114 in the first half. You can't get more balanced than that. Well, you could, but you know what I'm saying. They only gave up one more sack. And no, they didn't. They gave up four more sacks in the second half. A lot of that was trying to go down the field and, trying to make things happen when they were going through a lull, which, it happens. He does hold the ball a little bit too long, but it'll come with experience and time that he will start to hit his check downs earlier and get rid of the ball. I've also noticed that when he wants to go downfield, he locks in on the folks going downfield. There's a couple of times he had a tight end in the flat or a running back in the flat that was wide open with nobody around it for like 5 or 10 yards, but he decided to push the ball down the field instead of taking what was given to him. That'll also come with time. So, I mean, I don't understand how all these folks are just saying that he's a bust and yada, 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 that he's not a good quarterback. He's raw. He has talent. You just have to develop it. I mean, simple as that. Still, he had the one interception. Tress Way, team MVP, 5 punts, killed it. Average of 52 yards per punt. Penalties, oh goodness. 8 penalties for 63 yards, which, okay, granted, I seen them too. But there were a rack of holding calls, especially on the right tackle on Ryan Kerrigan, holding his jersey, wrapping around his shoulder pads, grabbing him under the shoulder pads. That is clearly right there for the field judge to see, but for some reason didn't call. He got one holding penalty called on him this whole game, and I can count on 2 hands how many times that you can see him holding Kerrigan or whoever was coming on that right side after Kerrigan went out with the concussion. So like I said, I'm never going to blame the referees for a game. I'm never going to say whatever, but I'm going to critique them because I still see the inconsistencies in calls. Detroit ended up having 6 penalties for 65 yards, but you saw the graphic in with the third quarter, they got their first penalty for false start 5 yards. Then they got the holding call, a series after that. So, I mean, I just want consistency from the refs. That's in every sport. But I'm just saying, you can't always see it on one side and don't see it on the other. Ended up with 26 minutes of time of possession opposed to Detroit's 33. They had 16 minutes of time of possession in the first half. So they only had 10 minutes with the ball in the second half, but they had it at a crucial time in the fourth quarter when they were able to go down and get that time score. And what more can you say? It was a Redskins victory, and I can't overlook the defense. They had 2 sacks. No, they had 3 sacks in the first half and 2 turnovers. So no, I was correct at first. So they did get 6 sacks. I gotta look at the numbers. Who got the sacks? Yeah, they did get 6 sacks. Cole Holcomb got a sack. Anderson got a sack. Sean Deion Hamilton got a sack. Jonathan Allen and Kerrigan shared on the sack. Matty Unitas got a sack, and Montez Sweat got a sack. So yeah, I was wrong in the first. They got 6 sacks and only gave up 2 sacks. So that was definitely good, especially with the condition we saw this line was going to be before. And they gave up 3 sacks, so they gave up 1 more sack in the second half. But I think it was a valiant effort by this team to get a victory, to earn a victory. 2-9. Like I said, I just want to see improvement from this team. I want to see fight. I want to see, I want to see them go after it. I want to see improvement. We see the younger players getting into the game now. You got Norman was active, but he was on the bench for most of the game. Yeah, you saw them moving in. Moreland. Oh, and that interception that Moreland should have had that would have ended the game before Fabian Moreau got his second was I went right through his arms, but luckily Moreau read the play. Moreau read the play, and the young quarterback for Detroit, didn't see him or wanted to force the ball in there. Thought he had the arm strength to get it in there. Unfortunately, it didn't. And Moreau came up with his second interception of the game. The first one that he got in the first half was very impressive. He had perfect position, turned his head around, made the play on the ball, and completed the catch. It was, we haven't seen that from Redskins DBs in a while. Quentin Dunbar has been doing it. He has 3 picks this season, but Moreau got 2 this game. It was good to see Moreland out there, getting experience out there. He made a couple of mistakes, but he made a couple of plays. That's what you're going to get with this team, putting players out there. This is looking for next year now. You're seeing what talent that you have. There are going to be some players that aren't going to be here next year. There are going to be some players that are going to be able to carry over and some players that, age-wise or contract-wise, might not be it. So you got to audition these guys now in live game action to see what you truly got going into the next year, so you know what the draft, because this team is going to have a high draft pick. What are you going to do? Simple as that. Let me check on something real quick. What we got here? No, that's not it. All right. We can go through the first half scores and my pick 'em. I think I had a pretty good first half. I think I only got one game wrong, and that was the upset, Atlanta over Tampa. But let's do a quick recap of the first quarter games. You had, as I just mentioned, Atlanta losing to Tampa Bay 35-22. That was my only loss on my pick 'em. Buffalo defeated Denver 20-3. The Bears beat the Giants 19-14. Pittsburgh beat the Bengals, who are still winless at 16-10. 16-10, excuse me. Cleveland beat Miami 41-24. Washington beat the Lions, which is an upset. Most folks took the Lions 19-16. The Jets, which was an upset the most, I predicted properly in the first in the pregame that the Jets would beat them 34. I didn't say 34, but 34-3. They put up 34 against the Redskins last week, and I said I think their offense has figured something out after they got right against our defense that looked totally different today, but last week looked lost. They put up 34 points again today. Derek Carr actually got benched in the third quarter. The Saints had a nail biter versus Carolina. I forgot it was a conference game. I thought it was going to be a easy, win for the Saints, but Drew Brees did put up 3 touchdowns, so that did help my fantasy football team. They defeated Carolina 34-31. Seattle pretty much just manhandled Philadelphia at Philadelphia 17-19. I mean, it's a low score, but every time I looked up, Seattle was just dominating. And we got in the second quarter with 7:10 left, Jacksonville versus Tennessee is tied at 0. I took Tennessee in that game. No, I took Jacksonville in that game, which is also an upset according to most. And we got the Patriots and the Cowboys, and the Patriots just scored with a touchdown catch by Brandon Harry. See, they got folks I ain't even heard of before scoring touchdowns. So, look like the Pats are about to go up 7-0, like it's rainy. You like it's rainy in New England. You know how that cold rain is. That always plays in their favor. But I had a good first half of games. I did pretty well in my pick 'em. My fantasy football, I'm looking pretty good. Drew Brees, like I said, put up 3 touchdowns. Darius Geis, I was hoping he had the impact he had last week when I left him on my bench with that 45-yard screenplay, but unfortunately it didn't. He had ended up with 32 yards rushing and 6 yards receiving. Terry McLaurin had 72 yards receiving, got me 7.2 points. Devontae Parker for Miami got 91 yards. Ted Ginn got me 3.8 with the Saints. I was hoping for a touchdown between him and Drew, but unfortunately it didn't go down. The Jets defense put up 17 points with a interception, fumble recovery, and a touchdown by the defense. So things are getting interesting with fantasy football. Like I mentioned, we got 2 games in the second half that's going on right now. It looked like Tennessee just scored to make it 7-0 over Jacksonville, and the Patriots 7-0 over the Cowboys. And you got the Green Bay San Francisco game at 8:20 tonight. So we got some entertaining games in the second half. Then you got Baltimore the Rams tomorrow. I'm about to get out of here probably. I'm going to go get prepped for tomorrow night's show. As I mentioned, Sports on the Hill podcast on True Radio Network starting at 7 o'clock. Talking Capitals starting at 7 o'clock. Talking Wizards about 7:30, 7:35 up until music break at 8. Music video break at 8. Then talk Redskins, and we'll probably have Paul the boxing guy on talking about the Wilder-Ortiz fight. Probably had Dujanay on giving his takes on the Redskins' victory over Detroit. We'll have Anna K on for the Capitals Roundtable. We'll probably have the whole NBA Roundtable, Arun, Brian, Robbie, Tim, DC People's Champ. They'll all be in talking Wizards and NBA. So make sure you check us out. Go check out the website, sportsothp.com, for all of the shows, highlighted videos, articles. You can find a link to the District of Champions apparel line that Robbie just designed. Shirts, pillows, hoodies, phone covers, get it all. We going through a nice little spell with other DC teams. The Redskins having a little hard luck right now trying to find themselves. But they took a step in the right direction this week with a win over Detroit. Like I said, quality offense, defense kind of, like the Redskins, but they held them to 16 points. They were averaging, I believe it was 24 points when I did the workup earlier. So defense played better, which I was asking for in the beginning of the game. Offense put up 19. They've only averaged 13 to 14. So it's improvement. Might not be the improvement the fans want. Might not be 30, 40 points up and Haskins putting up 300 yards and 4 touchdowns like Drew Brees or whatever, but it's progress. Simple as that. That's all you can ask for. This isn't going to be a playoff season. This isn't going to be nothing that they can make a late run or whatever. But yeah, it's definitely an improvement. And I just saw the Tennessee score. Ryan Tannehill with like a 20, 25-yard run. But he wants to score. He's determined to score. It's the safety at the goal line that hits him. He tries to jump over him, hits him in the hip, and he flips over into the end zone, holds onto the ball for a touchdown. He better stay healthy because they've been playing pretty good ball with him in there since they benched Mariota. They're 5-5 going against the 4-6 Titans. 4-6 Titans. That's their mascot. Going against the 4-6 Jaguars, who I took to win this game. Looks like my Titans' luck is going to happen again. Whenever I don't take them, they win. Whenever I take them, they lose. So we'll see how this plays out. But appreciate y'all checking me out. I'm going to share it on my Facebook, share it on my YouTube. Y'all be easy. Catch y'all tomorrow. Sports on the Hill podcast on True Radio Network. And I'm out.